get food to go, that it was because maybe she's sick now. I don't know. Oh, I saw her at Dickens
The
Festival.
first inclination of that water bill is when you get a low
right.
one in November.
We will bring the Village of Holly Parks Commission meeting of February 6th to order at 7 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Lease,
Here.
Hiltonen, McCanny, Hutchins,
Here.
Rankin,
Here.
Lemon,
Here.
Powers.
Here.
I do have a notice to excuse Gail. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Sounds like we have a motion and support for excusing Gail. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sarah also contacted me and asked that she be excused. She has some sick kids at home, so I'd entertain a motion for that as well.
Of course.
Motion
moved.
to excuse Sarah.
Excuse me. Sounds like we have a motion by Angie, support by Rick, to excuse Sarah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion also carries. Does anybody have any changes or to the? I have a couple of changes if nobody else does. Just some kind of straightening up of the agenda items. Old business. So number one under number one under old business should be budget discussion and submission to admin, and then number two should be the Pins for Parks fundraiser. So submission to admission or to administration, which is on number two, should actually be the second portion of number one.
Actually, the amended budget issue number 3.
Yeah.
The first one is the waterworks update.
Yeah, Waterworks first.
Oh, I'm working off the old agenda. Okay, so number two should be budget discussion and submission to admin. And then number three is the Pins for Parks fundraiser.
Submission to what?
Administration.
Oh, okay.
Three. And Waterworks stays
Yeah,
number
just
one.
the first half of number three should actually be the second half of number two.
Yeah.
It just got jumbled around a little. If nobody else has any additional changes to the amended excuse me, Parks Commission agenda, I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Support.
Okay.
All right.
Either.
Doesn't matter.
I cannot stop coughing today. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And then you also have the minutes from the January 2nd, 2019 meeting in front of you. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make
So
a motion.
moved. Sorry, Joe. So moved. Second.
We have motion and support to approve the minutes of the January 2nd meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public comment for the evening? Moving on. Item number one, Waterworks update. Brian, I think you might have something for us.
Oh,
Danny Radford works at the DPW, and he has a presentation, some information that he gathered for the waterworks building, some different ideas and guessing.
Can I get, what's your name again? Danny
Radford,
Hesberg.
R-A-T-H.
Oh. Gotcha. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. I got a packet for you here.
Thank you.
Anxious to
Follow along.
Anxious to see this.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. So first off, my name is Danny Radford. I do work for the DPW in the Bryan. I've been working there for about 3 years now. think it's an important part of the village's history. So, our purpose and intent. In collaboration with many sources, the internet and the brief research, we have come up with a plan to preserve the importance of the history of the property where the current waterworks building foundation sits. Eventually, we would like to be able to use this project as an educational opportunity, but for now, the intent is to make the foundation as safe and usable as possible, and more aesthetically pleasing to passers-by and park users. First off, and foremost, is safety here. The current state that it sits now after the demolition, we could only go so far because there was a lot of mechanical things that were left inside the building. Those are no longer structurally safe. The two beams that you can currently see that kind of hold everything up, they're encased in concrete. That concrete was poured on top of wood. That wood is deteriorating and no longer holding anything. It's unsafe. So if we were to save that equipment to be able to see it, right, we as a DPW would have to physically dismantle everything and then rework that so that we would be able to safely view it. A lot of work, a lot of time involved there. So, and then also, like, being able to view that equipment is very cool. You know, a lot of people would like to see that. Maybe come to the park to see it. But in the same respect, if we were to build a deck over that spillway in front of the equipment, you're still having an open area where it would be almost a hazard because it's a very shallow amount of water there. If a child, an animal, or park users throwing trash in there, it kind of presents a problem. Also, the road is very close. It presents kind of a road hazard. I discussed with Chief McGee, our fire chief, you know, what his thoughts were about this project. You know, if a car were to go in there, he said his guys are all about, you know, a gallon, but that would not be very cool for them to have to deal with. And foremost, employee safety. For us, you know, as an employee, if an animal or if that got filled with trash, I'm gonna have to go down in there and clean it out. Frankly, with the water running through it, it's an engulfment hazard, and it'd be very unsafe for us to be able to do it. So, with that said, and all those things said, I feel the best course of action would be to totally remove all of that equipment, okay, and we would enclose it somehow. Now, we've come up with a few different possibilities here. There were project ideas right here. The first one would be a wood deck with an aluminum platform. And that's a very low cost. It's about $7,000 without our labor to install the deck, you know, and build it and such.
Right.
You know, in-house labor, the aluminum railing is going to be involved in all three ideas just because it's a cheap and very quick, efficient way to be able to install it. But it was also very maintenance-free. We wouldn't have to paint it. We wouldn't have to really upkeep it very much. The cons of the wood deck, it's limited lifetime. I mean, it's wood over a waterway. We're going to have to be staining and upkeeping, and that's added cost. The second page here is a composite deck. Also, a little longer lifetime than wood. We'd save on paint and stain because it's composite. And also, again, in-house labor. You know, we'd be able to build it. The cons of that, a little higher cost than the wood, but also it's still a wood structure under the composite decking. 10 years here, 10 years there, they're both going to last the same amount of time. Personally, I'd like to be in this village for a while, and I don't want to have to revisit this project ever again. So that's about $8,300 without labor costs. Again, that's including the structural costs, the composite deck, and the aluminum railing. Now, the third is expanded structural concrete. This is a company out of Grand Rapids. Extremely long lifespan. This would be 3 generations from now. We would have to revisit this. We'll never have to see this again. The installation for this product is included in the cost of them manufacturing it and coming out and installing it. There's little to no upkeep. I mean, we would literally nothing. strong base for expansion. If you look at the very last page, I did a rendering of the current foundation with a pavilion built over it. Pretty aesthetic, and it'd be very cool. I feel that this would only be possible if we did the expanded structural concrete, because if we were to build a pavilion over a wood deck and it fails in 10 years, we're going to be taking the pavilion down and rebuilding it. It would just be a very time-consuming part of everything. Now, with that said, there's other opportunities here in the future for another pavilion to house the old equipment that maybe was in the building. You know, maybe take some of those gears and put them on display, or some storyboards, put some pictures of the building in the 1800s when it was first there.
Right.
It'd be very cool. I'm loving the idea of everything here. So, in closing, the park does have lots of historical value to the village. Although the current spillway, the foundation there, is not actually the original one from 1800 when they first built it. It's been moved, actually. But it can still be used to teach and share the story of the park and what it was used for many generations to come if the project is done correctly. That is what I've put together for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the drawings. Check it out. And other than that, costs were rough estimates. But other than that, that's what I got for you. We've done a lot of cool research on it, actually. There's a lot of very cool things that came about from that waterworks part.
Let me see if I understand it. The cement stuff that's up there, that's all going to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Basically, what we would have to start with is just the concrete spillway, the rectangle spillway.
Sooner the better.
Any other questions?
What were you projecting? I'm looking at 28,000 as a total cost. Or
Yes, and
No,
that would be
20.
for 20,000.
well, there was 8,000 on.
That's on the other one.
Well, there's three choices there.
Three
One of them was
choices.
7, one of them was 8, one of them was 20.
For a full wood deck platform, womanized wood, that was about 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
For a composite,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like a plastic kind of material,
Right.
over a wood base, because they don't have the composite in structural
Right.
form. Or the 20,000 is expanded structural concrete.
Okay.
Would it be possible to build a steel structure and top it with a composite at all?
I suppose we could look into it again.
I mean, I like the idea of concrete
Absolutely.
off the top of my head
It's
because
a steel structure
it
over water.
it doesn't seem like that much of a jump for to go from a 10 to 20 year lifespan to a
100-year lifespan,
Right.
yeah.
You know, it seems like a small increase in price. I mean, you're doubling the price and multiplying the lifespan by 10.
At least.
So that seems like almost a no-brainer. But
It is,
if
but
we wanted to do some other, if there, and I hadn't thought about the idea of people throwing stuff into
yes.
that area where we would be, being able to view the equipment. So we may have to come up with another idea. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of just capping it with concrete.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
3
then-
makes sense to me. We're talking long term. You don't have to come back over.
Right, we won't have to do it again.
So, I mean, if go ahead, Joe.
One thing about the steel bridge is being over water, like you know. Sooner or later it's going to have to be painted. And
Right.
we know about what happens to paint not even near water with a gazebo
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, the DEQ will definitely
Yeah.
have a field day with
And
it.
my other stipulation is, or my other comment is, about 2 years ago this was brought to us. And at that time, we discussed it here. And I said, take all that gears and gizmos and stuff and build a slab out there in the park. Put the gears and gizmos up out there and put a little roof over it and put your dioramas around that. That way you're not worrying about the spillway, close to the road, yada, yada, yada. Because the first thing everybody does is throw stuff into the river or fall into the river, But that's what I would say was to move it off the site, because all you got left is a hole in the ground.
Yeah, we could we could almost put it out in the large southern portion of
Yep.
the park
Yep.
in its own little pavilion,
Yeah,
and it could almost
yeah.
be,
You-
our park.
Yeah, you pour a slab and put it up there like you do at Greenfield Village. You put a little roof over it and
And we wouldn't
paint
have
it
to
or
do
do
it
what
all
you
at
want,
once.
put
We
the
should
ceramics
do this
around
and
it.
then
Correct,
down the
and that was
road.
part of, the end of that presentation there, future ideas for the park. I had said, maybe do a separate pavilion out in the park.
Yep.
We still have the old water pump at our yard.
Yep.
It's a little rough shape, you know.
It's in a lot of rough shape.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It really is. But like you're saying, if you got the old wheel or the old gears or something,
Yep.
and you were able to, I had even thought I'd design a cross section of the building.
Yep.
So you can see the spillway, you can see
Yep.
the Samson wheel, you can see the drive shaft, you can see everything. And
I
then
like
you can
that.
make a
Sounds good.
storyboard
I like-
inside that building.
I
Yep.
like the cutaway idea.
Absolutely.
And that way-
Because then it shows the function of the building.
Right.
And that way you don't have any problems with the spillway maintenance or somebody
Right.
throwing
Yeah,
stuff in
That
there.
would just be a viewing platform at this point.
Yeah.
Place to gather.
Just place to gather, maybe put a picnic table up there.
Well, yeah.
You know.
Some
And that's the
benches.
biggest thing too, is we already have that wooden bridge across there, you know.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, let 'em- if you want to go see the spillway, there it is, but here's what the mechanism is. That way it's out of the weather, more or less, and people can view it, put the walking trail around it and stuff, and I don't know, put some
Give people a
petunias
reason
around
to
it.
Head to the
Yeah.
south portion of the
And I
park.
agree, Joyce, too, it doesn't all have to be done.
No,
No,
it can't be.
Let's make it safe first, and then we'll do it.
Right.
everything else.
yeah,
But
That's-
I'd rather bite the bullet and pay the 20,000 and not be piecemealing it down the road.
Right.
And
So Chris, if the consensus is the third one, what we
Yes.
can do is put this plan packet in the next council. It probably wouldn't make it, if we get it tomorrow to her, she might be able to get it in this council agenda or March's council agenda. And if the commission wants to make the recommendation that we go with the third plan, and then council could say, okay, that's what we want to go with, and then we can start
We can
looking
at
at
least have
budget.
the next step.
Yeah,
Go
budget
from the project.
numbers, and we have a plan, so
So-
that where we're going with this, so.
So the idea would be to remove the equipment and store it, kind of like we're doing with the pump right now.
Yep,
Cap what we have, put a railing up,
Make it safe.
yep.
and call it a viewing deck at this point.
Yep,
And then we'll work
and
on-
then if we want, let's say, year 2, year 3, or the next 5 years, our plan is to either build a pavilion over the viewing deck, or build a separate pavilion, or both pavilions, but it's in, year 3, year 5, whatever it is, and then we're gonna, look at
And then we
doing
have a
some
plan.
kind of display with storyboards and
Yeah.
equipment that we can put out there safely and show people the history of it. And there's also, we got a lot of information from a couple local residents on the Danny and another guy, Tom Kernan. They did a lot of research on their own, and there's a lot of neat anecdotes about different things that happen in the town and why that's called Waterworks. There was actually, it was a patent that this guy got, this called Waterworks. So
Yeah.
Right.
so
Yeah, I
there's
think
a
if
lot
we
of
present something to council that says, phase 1 is going to be, we'll
securing
put
the decking and
we'll put
and
the
that
deck up,
spillway.
and, put the deck and the railing up, and make it make that a viewing platform, for lack of a better term. And then phase 2 would be to, build a pavilion, a viewing area for the equipment.
down the road.
Phase 3 would be to get that equipment in there, get it set up into the kind of positioning where it was when it was in operation, and then maybe phase 4 is to build a pavilion over the deck, and then phase 5 is to kind of tie it all together.
Now, if we were to get the deck with a railing, then would we be able to get rid of the ugly silver fence?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that'll come down.
The fence is up now because it's an
Yeah,
open
yes,
spillway,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we're just trying to keep people away
Yeah,
from
right.
that and the
Right.
equipment
That's
that's
okay.
currently there. So once we got the permanent decking in there, the fence would go away,
Ah.
and then we
How
would have.
soon could this,
Tomorrow?
how,
Right.
no, how soon could something like this happen because of the weather and all that?
It would probably be more so springtime just for us to be able to have the time. And it all can be
Well, and it would be, it definitely have to be a budget amendment for this year, so depending on where our council went with it, if they wanted to do a budget amendment and get it done in spring, then what we would do is go through the contractor, get the cost set up, get us on their construction schedule, find out what they needed from us to prep the area, then they would come in and set it, and then once it's set, then I think our plan was to put the railing up. So, I mean, that could be done all within, probably a 2 or 3 week time frame.
The railing would be very quick, 30 to 50
Yeah, you're just putting bolts into concrete at that point.
Yeah, and they actually could pour it with pockets already in it for us.
Yeah.
Because when they came out and talked about it, so we would already have the pockets for the railing there. So
that way you could remove it to repair it or repaint it.
right, we're not drilling
Oh,
holes
cool.
in their concrete. So
So we could
Perfect.
call this the spillway overlook.
there you go.
There you go.
This is great. You guys did a great job.
So if that's the consensus, Chris, then I guess you can ask, to get it put on the agenda and talk to council about it next week, and then that way they can decide, or we can put it on the March agenda, whatever you think, so.
Probably sooner than, if we can squeeze it onto next week's agenda, that'd be great.
All right, well, we'll talk to Debbie in the morning, because I think, did the agendas go out already, or?
No.
So
No,
they
they
may
go out on
first thing in
Thursday.
the morning.
Yeah, they go out Thursday, but
We don't have to do an official vote, just that we.
As long as it's a consensus of
Yeah.
the board that that's what you're looking
Cool.
at is the third part of it with the permanent, with the concrete
Yeah.
decking.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
nobody's objecting, I just didn't.
well,
yeah.
if you
Yeah, I know.
if you want, we can I can
I
make a
don't know.
motion
I
that
was just
that we
thinking-
recommend to
We
council
should
the
do it.
the
I would
okay.
think
Yeah.
so.
Well, what I'll do, Chris, is I can do a council action request, and we'll include this information in the packet as part of the council action request for council.
Perfect.
And then when you guys discuss it on Tuesday, they'll have this information. And if they've got questions, or they want to wait and get more information, or they can kick it back to you guys for more information, or back to staff, and then we can go from there. But like you said, if we get it done in February, they decide to move forward with it, do it a budget amendment or whatever they want to do, then we can get on the schedule with we can get a hold of the contractor, get on their schedule, and get this moving.
Get it
So
started.
in springtime, when the weather gets nice and everybody starts coming out, we're not on Facebook, or people are showing me, it's like, hey, this has been like this for 6 months now, where are we going with that?
Right. Well, it's been like that for 40 years.
Yeah.
I don't think waiting another month is going to kill us. But no, I agree. We should get the sooner we can get started on it, the better.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll make up a council action request to say the consensus of the board was to go with the third part of this packet.
Right. And
Put
over-
this in the council, along with the council action request. We'll get it on the agenda, and then you guys, Rick and
Yeah, and when we can wander through, while
yeah, and if they got questions, I'll be there, you guys will be there, and then they can
Yeah.
get them answered, and then we just have to go in terms of budget numbers and come up with the phases after this, And we
Okay.
can mention that to council that,
Yeah, that we're going to do it in phases, and we
Phases.
haven't quite determined exactly
Yeah.
the order, but we know that we want, we've got 4 or 5 areas of it that we want to get done over the next few years.
All right.
Thank you for your time and
Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yeah,
Is
great.
this something that we should vote on, or just go ahead with?
Brian said
Well, we're not-
we-
No, as long as you got a consensus, because there's nothing,
Yeah.
you're sending it back to council.
Okay.
We're not spending
yeah.
any money, so
Okay.
we're not,
Have any money in
not
there.
yet anyways.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're making the recommendation to council, so
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right. Last month, we talked about having to come up with some budget numbers. I've got a list. Anybody else come up with?
I had a list from one day, a long time ago. Katie
Alright.
asked me to make up a list.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll rattle through mine and tell me if I've left anything out. All right. So the things we're going to need money for, we're going to need to make some capital improvements.
Oh, you're talking about for this year? right?
Yes.
For this year, okay,
No,
never
no,
mind.
no.
My
For the-
list was
the
for
coming
the
up year.
future.
For the
coming up
for the
year,
budget for 1920.
Right,
So,
I gotcha.
okay. So capital improvements that I see us doing, that I would like to see us do is the retaining wall we've been talking about for years at Crapo Park to help level out the pavilion, finish on, put the, make the flower beds more permanent, and make the ground coming off of the pavilion just like 2 steps down instead of that awful
Slope.
hill.
Yeah.
I threw a number of 20 grand on there because that's, I think we talked before and that was our guesstimate that,
yeah, I'm trying to, because Ron Dennis gave us a square footage, a lineal footage cost for that. So,
Right.
And I want to say it was like $75 to $100 seems to stick in my mind, but per lineal foot.
right.
And that was installed, so.
And I can email you this list or I can just give you my handwritten notes if you want.
Just email it to me, and then that way, because we have a budget meeting this weekend, but I think it's just for water and sewer. So as we get moving through this, and we could do those
Is
presentations.
that this weekend?
Saturday, yes. The 9th.
Oh, yeah, okay. So 2,500 for music in the park again. I'd like to put some money, well, an additional, I guess this would go under capital improvements, but fixing up the kayak launch at Waterworks with the designation of a national river trail and the beginning of that river trail being Waterworks Park. I think we really need to do some work on that launch and make it much more kayaker friendly. I think we need about $1,000 for signage so we can replace, and maybe we try and get, I don't know, we should probably pull that out of last year's budget to get the Ganshaw sign done. And then I think there's only one or two other signs that are in really poor shape. Oh, Crapo needs one as well. So Crapo and Ganshaw are both missing signs.
I'll have to look at the budget, because the last budget she sent me said that we're already over on our parks stuff.
That's not possible.
And our projects. I know, but I think something may have gotten charged to that shouldn't have. So
Well,
we just need to, because I think there was $15,000 and it's already showing we spent 18, and I keep a separate spreadsheet and I don't show that. So that's why I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
We'll have to reconcile those and see what happened.
And I don't know if this would fall under our budget, but I'd like to see us do some trees in our parks, especially in Lakeside, particularly surrounding the.
Well, I know
The
Joe had
playscape.
mentioned raising some money separately for like memorial trees, and I've mentioned it before that in other communities they have a memorial tree or bench program, and then getting some kind of plaque that says, this tree's been dedicated in memory of
Right.
so and so. So
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm trying to get it done before Arbor Day.
Which is what, April?
April 22nd,
Something?
I think, something around
like
there.
that.
It's
So
usually
I'm
like,
going around with a smooth people to see if they want to donate a tree
Okay.
in the name of whoever they want to name it for, their loved ones or their animal or anything else they want to do, and we'll put them around the
Okay.
play structure at Lakeside.
Okay. And then I've got I don't. Sarah mentioned that we should put $1,000 in the budget for holidays just for stuff, because we needed money last year that we pulled out of our budget. So maybe we make it a line item this year so that we have those funds available. And that was what I had.
Is there any way we can get a couple of benches for Waterworks?
I'm sure we could. I mean, we should probably just be buying benches every year, because there's no shortage of
Well, there's
places
like
we can put
nothing
up.
at Waterworks. And-
well, I know
and-
in the past they use CBDG money for park stuff, so you may want to keep that in mind when you talk to
Ah.
Debbie about budgeting stuff. Like every second or third year, ask for some CBDG funds, and then we can, because that's where I think we got 4 cans and 6 benches or 6 picnic tables for Waterworks.
Yeah.
Because the new pavilion didn't have a lot of cans and stuff underneath there. So if you keep that in mind when they ask for, CBDG, what they want to use it for. If you ask for $2,500 or $3,000, then we can get a couple benches and a couple of picnic tables for about that.
Okay.
I'd like to get those
Yeah, I
water
hadn't even.
benches.
I didn't even realize we could use CDBG money for that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it can be used for. So, because actually that big pavilion at Lakeside was CBDG money too.
I was going to say, what do you have
Okay.
to? You have to come to a council meeting like the
Well, when they
groups
when they
do,
call
and-
for people that want to do it, they've used it for blight and code enforcement, fire equipment, police equipment. You can use it for Parks and Rec. There's a whole list of what you can use those funds for.
Huh.
So they try to rotate it around. So that's what I'm saying. Like every third year or second year, whatever, we could say, okay, we want to start adding stuff to a certain park, and then once we're done with that park, we move to the next one or whatever it is.
Okay.
I'd like to back up just for a minute to trees. We're a tree city. Are we responsible for that, or does the village do that? Or
Yes, every year in December I have to fill out a packet, and I send it into the DNR, and then they approve it, and then that's when you'll see every year we get a new year that says we've been a member for, I think it's 21 years this year,
Yeah.
or it'll be 22 years this year. So usually around Arbor Day we get a new flag, and the flag flies on the flagpole at the DPW. Then we get a pen, and then we get those stickers, and there's one on Grange Hall and one on Maple when you come into the village.
We could use some new trees along Maple. There are homes that don't have any by the curb.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything further on the budget discussions? Hearing none. Pins for Parks fundraiser. We need to recruit celebrity bowlers.
We need
How
to
do-
recruit players too, most importantly.
Do we have any idea how many people have signed up so far?
I have about 7 teams signed up so far.
Okay.
That's
and-
only 35. We can go up to about 100, 120.
Okay.
So
well,
we
that
have
was
a
my-
ways to go.
That was my question. How many people can we fit in there? We got what?
When is it?
20 lanes.
Yeah, 20 lanes, 5 out of lane.
So-
I think there's 24 lanes actually.
Okay. So we need 100 bowlers plus the 20 celebrity bowlers.
Yeah. And some teams, the way we've worked it is, if they have their team already set, they don't want a celebrity bowler, fine. Because
Okay.
there's a couple of teams at the Moose that said, we already have a team. We go, okay. We aren't going to stop you from buying tickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, how do we get updates on, I mean, this is what, less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. And yeah, we're going to have to hustle. One of the
2
things
weeks from Friday, actually.
Pardon me?
It's 2 weeks from Friday, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I was going to propose is that Parks buys a team, put 120. It is our fundraiser, and buy tickets for 5 and solicit 5 people
Well,
from Parks or whatever.
Between the 7 of us, I'm sure we can come up with 12 people
Right.
and make 3
I have
teams.
my own team already, but between everybody else, they should be able to come up with it.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a team in my house.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
There's,
absolutely.
you know, there's 4 people in my house, so
So if
we
we
have to
could
come up with a 5th. I don't know.
Oh, you can always find a 5th.
I know Rachel's getting ready to send out the Gov delivery, so if you want to get a plug on that, that goes out as an email. The Gov delivery, they can go out as a reminder. Get it.
Who
on,
handles that?
Rachel
You know her email.
Orjakowski.
I'm sure I don't have her email address.
Well, if you put Rachel O in there, and it should be Rachel Orjakowski at hollyvillage.org. It should, if you've sent an email or gotten an email from her, do you get Gov delivery?
On my phone, I do.
Okay.
I don't know that I get them on my.
Send me an email tomorrow, and I'll send you her email
Okay. Well, I gotta say, all right.
early, and then that way you can get it to her before she gets it out on the.
Okay. We'll do that.
So I can put Parks down as a team.
Not me, I don't bowl.
I'm signing up the teams right now. I have a list of the teams.
I don't bowl.
I don't either.
I don't know who on Parks is gonna want to do it as a. I don't know that we would have a team as Parks, but I think everyone on the Parks should be there.
Well, I'll be there, but I'm not bowling.
Yeah, we'll need volunteers that night.
Yeah, I'll be there to volunteer.
That's fine.
But and Roger can't. He's his backers.
Mhm.
He's barely walking.
Okay.
Joyce, will you be joining us?
Do I look like a bowler? No.
But are you coming?
No.
Okay.
I'll
Joe?
be there.
I'm gonna try and make it. I can't bowl.
Okay. So Joe's a maybe $10 entrant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every bit
I
helps.
think Nicole and I and the boys will be able to make a team, the 4 of us.
Mhm.
You want to represent the Park Commission?
So, I mean, and then you'll have you'll have
I'll
a
have
team
my
there,
team.
so we'll be represented.
Okay, good.
And then
Mention
Joe
it to
will-
Debbie too. She can get it on the board out on Maple.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The banner, all the applications been put in to hang the banner, and I guess they have it down for Monday. Is that your banner hanging day?
Monday the 18th.
No, it'd be this following Monday.
Okay, yeah. 11th, yeah.
Yeah, the 11th. And the banner turned out terrific. Really turned out nice. And that's going to go above the road. And we have posters that are going to be going up, hopefully in the next day or two, too.
Okay.
And hopefully get on his social media site. He supposedly has about 250,000 followers. So hopefully between everybody, we'll
Okay.
be able to get it sold out.
Yeah. I mean, we got 2 weeks. I think we can.
I think we
can put it together by then. moving on. Music in the Park schedule. So I've done some research. I contacted a few of the bands that were that we brought in last year and talked to them about various days and nights to move the concert to. Sunday was not a popular option. Not that we can't do something on Sundays. It's just not going to be the types of bands that we brought in last year and the year before. They're out Saturday night playing. They're not going to want to come Sunday at noon to set up and play music. And I'm not sure that a lot of the bands that we had last year would be really cohesive with the farmers market anyways. I think we've got enough local talent in other genres that would be more would be a better fit. So what I'm going to recommend is that we keep the Saturday evening schedule. Second Tuesday of each month, we'll do 3 of them again, and then if we could also work something out where we have other different types of bands playing on Sunday, playing different types of music. I don't think that would be difficult to organize. It just wouldn't be a paid gig.
Yeah, I worked with Janie on one that we were going to do at Cyclone Park, and she had it all lined up with one of the radio stations for one of the, I hate to call it spiritual music, but inspirational type music on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I thought that would go over good in that area. And they're like folk singers, and very popular in a lot of areas. In particular with the church-going crowd, they can go after church, go to the flea market, not flea market, farmer's market, and listen to the music down there at Grable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can talk to her if she can see if she can get them lined up. She has a contact with the one religious radio station, and
that'd be great.
We had 2 or 3 people lined up, or groups lined up. So, do you have a date in mind at all?
Just
June,
whenever.
July, August, any Sunday, or?
Well, the farmers market is every Sunday from June to October, I think.
I think it's even sooner. It's like mid-May
say
to
end of
October.
May or
or
They
something.
added a month somewhere, or a couple of weeks.
I think they added a
Yeah,
couple
so
weeks
she-
before and a couple weeks
yeah.
after.
She's there
once.
every Sunday 10 to 2.
Okay, so when she asks for a date, I'll ask her to pick out a date in June or July or Sunday.
Any Sunday.
Yeah.
So basically any
June or
Sunday they
July,
show up.
August.
And if we can get music there, a few times on a Sunday over the summer, that would be great. I don't know that we'll be able to do it every week, but we can talk with Genevieve and see what, if she has any contacts or any ideas. I know
Right.
she was the one that thought that would be a great idea. I just don't know that we can facilitate getting bands there.
Right. Well, I'll follow up with her and see what she can put together for us.
Okay.
And as I say, with her contact at that radio station, I think she could line it up pretty easily. 2 or 3 groups come in on Sunday, at least one Sunday this summer.
That'd be nice, once a month maybe.
Or or just random Sundays,
Yeah.
and it can, you just never know if there's going to be music, and it'll maybe, be a reason to come down. Hey, there might be some music down there. Let's go
Yeah.
check it out. And even if there's not music, well, hey, now we're down here. Let's buy something.
Well, you go there anyway to see what they have.
Right, who's
this
there?
weekend, so.
Yeah, and it's growing, and they've got more vendors, so it's
Yep.
How's
working
the
out really well.
library going?
It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Still has books in it.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
went by the other day. It looks good.
I don't know that we have any numbers on usage or anything like that.
I haven't got any calls that it got knocked over or anything. So.
Yeah.
No, it's there.
Yeah, I
It looks
saw it the other
nice.
night,
It's
yeah.
really
Yeah, it looks good.
nice.
It turned out nice. I
It's
was
been a
really
little
impressed.
cold for people to be out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they use it more in the warmer weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Chris,
Now,
Yes.
did everybody see this flyer that was in the last week's paper from the Tri-County? It's from the Fenton Community Center. I need it back one night because I got to present this to the Richter Center. Some ideas for music for the winter time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the old community
Times.
Okay.
center in Fenton, if everybody knows where that's at, from back in the 50s, right off Leroy. Very very small building, but the biggest thing too is you could hold something that could be sponsored by the parks during the winter
Yeah.
in the cafeteria at the Richter or the auditorium in the Richter.
Hmm.
So you know, it could be sponsored by
Right.
Village Parks. That's their. It's
That's a
kind of a
good
nice little
idea.
setup there.
Yeah.
They pulled some out of Flint and someplace else besides what they had going there.
Right. And that's something maybe we could even tap the schools at that point, because it'd be winter time and we could get the jazz band down here.
Huh.
Because we can't really do that in the summer, from what I'm
and
told.
like I say, that's the biggest thing I've been pushing on the board of directors, well, as being on Township Parks and the Richter Board of Directors, is we gotta promote things, and instead of everybody going off like a wagon wheel doing their own promotions, I keep bringing it up about the Southern County,
Lakes.
yeah, flyer, and now Linden Schools has broke away from that. And Fenton Schools, I think, is breaking away from it. They put out their own flyers for community ed and everything else. So with us, we could do the township parks, the township library, the township, the village, downtown development and stuff like that, and send out our own flyer of what's happening, and the schools, of what's happening in our community, a community flyer. So not everybody has to take the brunt of the expense. So we all can, you know, divvy up and send out a packet saying, here's what Parks is doing, here's what the village is doing, here's what the township's doing, the library, the DDA, Chamber of Commerce, anybody else that wants to put an advertisement in there.
Right.
Almost back to a hometown paper.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I wonder who might be doing something like that.
Like I say, Southwest Parks, where it is in Fenton, they got a big flyer out, covers everybody. What's happening where? Like I say, maybe we can get something going there.
Who would be doing the printing?
Well, that's where you can farm it out. We do our own printing on Township Parks. We have a flyer that covers right around 7,000 people. We mail out. We fold it, we print it, we fold it, we postage it, we send it out. Some of it gets, and then we have flyers going out to the schools, take homes.
On the lines, going back to the music in the park on Sundays, is there any reason we can't have disc jockey over there some Sundays?
None whatsoever.
Music draws people. They hear the music and it's like
Yeah,
a
if you
magnet
wanted
that
to,
draws them in.
if we wanted to get a DJ in there,
DJ Nikki Clem.
Yeah.
all right. Next on the agenda, I would like that we would make a formal recommendation about obtaining signs for Crapo and Ganshaw. I just wanted to put that on the agenda so I didn't forget about it again. But we need to. The two signs that are missing, those need to be replaced.
Okay.
If we could do them in a newer, in the material, the poly whatever.
Well, you got those 3 quotes, right, for the 3 vendors.
Mhm.
So if you just send back which vendor you want to use, and then
Okay.
I'll contact that vendor and get those 2 signs made up,
Okay.
and then we can install them or find out what the cost is to install them if they want to install them.
Okay. I will do that.
I have the information that Jennifer gave us on her dad to make that plaque,
Oh yeah.
so we'll have to include that.
And this was I remember.
She wrote it. I think some of it we don't have to say that.
Oh, perfect.
That he kept up the green space.
Well, no, but this would be great to put on a plaque next to the sign.
Yes, that was our thought, and she said she'd write it up, so.
If
I
you
can-
give me something, I can do.
Okay.
If I get a price for something similar to the plaque that we put for Shirley Campbell up on the pavilion,
Perfect.
and then
Yeah, I mean it looks like it's just a
yeah.
I'll kind
In
of
memory
tweak
of-
it though, because she's got, he liked to plant flowers on the corners. I don't think we need everything, just, he really was a great guy and he was a good public servant, but I don't have to put every little thing.
Did you want to do something with that, or can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to bring it to you, Brian?
You can bring it to me or email it to me, whatever
I'll bring
works.
it.
Okay.
I'm not a great email.
And then last but not least, the Blessings in a Backpack fundraiser. I thought John was going to be here to make some sort of a presentation, but the group No FOB at the Holly High School is putting on a fundraiser concert for Blessings in a Backpack. I didn't write down the date.
They're doing it at the high school? Is that what
No.
you just
No,
said?
no, no. They're doing it at
In
Crapo.
Crapo, okay.
Yeah, yeah. They're doing it at Crapo. I want to say it's May.
I thought it was the first week of May.
So did I, but I thought it was on a Friday. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. May 3rd. May 3rd is the date. And I think it goes from like 4 to 9. He had created kind of he had made up a flyer that wasn't the finished product. And he asked me not to post it on Facebook just yet until he had gotten it finished. But May 3rd, 4 to 9, they're doing a fundraiser concert for Blessings in a Backpack. They're going to have several bands there. They're working with A Joyful Noise in Fenton, and they'll have several bands. So they're just asking that people either, he said, bring a box of mac and cheese and some cash for donations. I guess the Blessings in a Backpack people like to put boxes of mac and cheese in the backpacks because they're kid favorites. Well, so the item under general business kind of falls back on the Pins for Parks fundraiser. I just wanted to make sure that we are designating, that we're officially designating the fireworks as the recipient of the funds that are raised from the Pins in the Park, or Pins for Parks fundraiser.
I wouldn't say all, but the vast majority of it.
Okay, well, let's pick a number and then let's see who else is, and then we need to determine what other, where else is the rest of the money going? What other projects do we have it designated
I was
to?
hoping it was going to be going for flowers, trees, whatever for the parks.
Okay.
For improvement for the parks.
80-20, 50-50, 90-10.
I would go 90-10 because they're really depending on this because they've fallen short on the fireworks by way of fundraisers the last couple of years.
Okay.
I think 90-10
So-
would be a fair amount.
Okay, so we're gonna say this is going to the fireworks, and we're gonna hold 10% out
Right.
for
Capital
general park
improvements. Yeah.
beautification, flowers and such.
Right.
Is that something you think we can accomplish that? Is that?
Yeah, and I think if this starts out, it might start out a little bit slow, but it probably will build momentum, especially as a winter fundraiser. You
Yeah.
know, because get the word out there and see what ends up. You may get a lot of last minute participation depending on the weather and
Right.
plans and that kind of stuff. But as myself being a bowler and doing some tournaments like that, and doing, sometimes they go in spurts. Just depending on the flow of things. So.
Okay. So I just wanted to have some.
If it turns out to be a
Concrete.
success and there's only 10 or 12 teams this year and people get the word out, hey, this was a good time, then
Right.
you start to see more people, hey, maybe I'll do that next year. And then,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you said that was a great time. And
Yeah, and we can
Yes.
do it February 22nd of every year. And,
Yeah. Andrew Anderson Day.
Yeah, and that and then suddenly now we've got an annual event.
I'd like to change it to a different date. That's my
Can't do it.
birthday.
Well, let's-
Roger took off and everything.
Well, good. So you guys will be in town. You
He
can go.
can't bowl. He can't. His
So
back
just come hang
is
out.
really.
Just
Oh,
come
he'll
hang
be
out.
there. He'll
No,
come
yeah,
with
come
me.
hang out.
Oh yeah, he'll come.
Any reports for us, Brian? Anything that we
nope,
haven't
this
talked
time
about?
of year is a little slow. This weather has been a little miserable to work in. So
Yeah.
as the weather starts to get better, we'll start doing some spring cleanup and getting stuff ready for the summer.
Have we had more water main breaks than normal, or has
No,
it
we've
just
been very fortunate this year.
Knock on-
Actually, last couple of years
knock
we
on
had
wood.
we had the big one on Grange Hall.
Right.
That one was a little tricky. We had a one over on Hadley and John, which was fairly easy in terms of water main breaks. But with the weather fluctuating like this, it gets a little scary.
right?
So we knew when we got that minus temperatures and then went to 50, when you get a 100-degree swing in 3 days, we were just thankful we only had one.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody had mentioned there that they felt like we were having so many water main breaks lately, and I was like, I think we haven't had as many as normal.
Oh, Detroit's had
I
a
thought it,
ton.
and I
No,
knock
the
on
last
wood, I
couple
thought we were
years
doing okay.
we've done some tweaking at the plant in terms of when we fill up and trying to regulate pressures, and it seems to have helped.
Yeah.
But we do every year that infrastructure ages, so we cross our fingers.
We've really got to come up with a capital plan to replace.
And there'll be some discussion this weekend on it, so if anybody who's not on council wants to show up and be part of that, they're more than welcome. But
I'll be there.
so
good times.
yes, best way to spend a Saturday morning, right?
What
Nothing
time
better.
again? 9 o'clock?
Yes, 9 till 5.
Oh, wow.
If you come, you gotta stay the whole time.
Does anybody have any comments? Joe, we'll start with you.
No.
Anything? Rick?
Only comment is the pins for parks. Try to get your friends, family out there. It should be a raucous good time. Should be a lot of fun.
Good.
And raise money for parks, which is the most important thing. That's all I have.
Angie?
Can't think of anything.
Joyce?
Nothing.
And I have nothing further, so we will stand adjourned. 7:52.
A 50-minute meeting.
Not bad with 7 items on the agenda. Not bad.
And we had a presentation.
Yeah.
Wonderful presentation. I'm really happy.
Well, a lot of people will be happy when that thing's complete.
Oh, yes. I get
Yes.
comments all the time. I thought
If
you
we
would
get
tear
that thing
down.
capped with a railing this year,
Oh,
I'll feel like we really got something done.
I will too. And die happy.
I mean, even if we don't get
How's it going, Joe?
the
Oh,
the
yeah.
equipment
you
all
coming
situated.